All right. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time of the day you're tuning in. Welcome to the R.A.H podcast. My name is Rahsaan Corbin II. I'm your host for the day. My co-host Omar is going to join a little late, but today's guest in the building, currently residing in Florida, Tisana
Hey y'all,
Richards. Say what's up to the people for the one time.
what's up, peeps?
All right, so before we get into this interview, I'm gonna start with a little icebreaker. All right, before we get this icebreaker, do you eat cereal?
Yes, not recently, but
All
I
right,
did.
all right. Growing up, did you eat cereal?
I did.
Okay, okay. Give me your top five cereal that you would eat, like your go-to cereals.
I have a top three.
All right, we'll go with
Um,
top three. Top three.
it's Fruit Loops. Actually, four. Fruit Loops first, and then Apple Jacks, and then Frosted Flakes, and then Rice Krispies. But it has to be with a specific milk for Rice Krispies.
Wait. Rewind, rewind. You said Rice Krispies with a specific type of milk.
Yeah, chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk. I rarely hear people drinking, or I said drinking, eating cereal with chocolate milk. Usually it's like almond soy or like regular, like 2%,
Yeah.
1%, whatever milk.
Mm-hmm.
You're different. Usually people name Cheerios on that
Uh-uh.
list. You don't like
No.
Cheerios?
No.
No.
Oh,
Man, but yeah, Frosted Flakes is a usually common one. I rarely hear people say Apple Jacks, so that's interesting.
hmm.
So, but yeah, good choice. Not even a five. You can't stick a five in there.
No, I don't think so.
Hmm. Why don't you eat cereal like that anymore?
Because it's not healthy.
All right, we'll get into that later. All right, I was expecting that answer. I'm gonna say like, yeah, I just don't like cereal anymore. But you're like, it's not healthy. Okay, whatever. Anyway, so before we dive into this interview, the whole goal of these podcast episodes is to help people who are aspiring leaders or are currently in leadership positions to, give them that extra step or words of encouragement or just seeing like, someone else's experience so they can get to the next level in life. Because,
hmm.
as humans, we all evolve and it's important to learn from other experiences, beyond our own and like take what we can from it. So before we get into, a little background, we're gonna get into a little background information about yourself. So tell the people where you're from, where you go to school right now, where you're an alumni from, and all that. So, and what you're
All
studying too. My
right.
fault.
So I am from Montego Bay, Jamaica, the best country in the Caribbean. Born and raised there. And I am currently going to the University of Central Florida, getting my master's degree in biomedical engineering on a biomechanics track. But I went to the number one university in the state of Florida, the University of Florida. Go Gators for undergrad. Also studied biomedical engineering, and I love that school forever.
Anyway, if y'all see my face reactions, she just said that was the number one school in Florida.
Mhm.
We're getting to that statistic at a later time. That's another thing we'll talk about off camera. But what made you choose biomedical engineering and what made you choose, University of Florida for undergrad?
Yeah. So I grew up my entire life wanting to be a doctor. I moved from pediatrician to urologist to cardiologist, and then I ended at neurosurgeon. And then in 10th grade, I randomly came home one day and I was just like, I don't want to do this. Doctors look miserable. And I wanted to have a very flexible adult life. So I literally went on the internet and typed in jobs that you can do with math and physics, because those were my favorite subjects in high school for the rest of your life. And I saw engineering pop up and I was just like, I don't know if I can do engineering, but I'm gonna continue scrolling. Mechanical popped up. I was just like, no, I don't like cars. Electrical came up and I was just like, I don't know if I can do that. And then I saw biomedical engineering and I was just like, best of both worlds, medicine, math, physics, why not? And since then, I stuck through with it. And I'm here still, love it. Absolutely the best major ever. But I chose UF because of its relationship with a university back home in Jamaica, but also it was expected for me to go to UCF, where I currently go for undergrad, but they didn't offer the major for undergrad. So I had to choose another school. And after looking around and figuring out what schools were best for me and what felt more like home, I found UF. I stick through with it. I applied, and thank God I got in.
That's dope. So then, what led you to go to UCF for graduate school? Because you could have easily gone into industry if you wanted to. Because I remember you
Yeah.
graduated last year, right? You
I
graduated
did.
last year. But what made you want to choose UCF out of any graduate school you applied to? If you applied to other ones.
Yeah, so I applied to two schools and got into both schools, UCF included. UCF is a family tradition, so both my dad and my sister went to UCF for undergrad, so that's why I applied, because it was close to family, and it's also family tradition, I guess. But I wanted to go to the other school, but the financial aid was better here at UCF, so definitely had to choose it, but the program still matches up to what I want to do in the future. So I'm happy that I'm
Man, oh man, UCF.
here.
All right, I'm trying to figure out which question to go into next because you kind of answered some of these. Did you talk about like what the motivation you said because you wanted to,
Grad school.
yeah,
Um,
motivation for grad school?
so the motivation behind grad school was, I felt like there was more for me to learn
Mm,
before going into industry, with what I specifically want to do with my major, which is rehabilitation engineering and pairing biomedical engineering with physical therapy. It was kind of hard for me to feel confident in all that I've learned in undergrad, knowing that it would have completely set me up for what I'm trying to do when I get into industry. And whilst it's not something I know I'm going to get straight into, I still wanted to build up the network. I wanted to build up my knowledge, but also feel more confident in my abilities to make different designs that I hope to make in the future.
man, what was the transition like going from undergrad to graduate school? Because I think you only had like one summer off or one
Yeah.
semester off, then you got right into it. So like, what was the transition like?
Um, it was different.
You talk about the workload, student life, all that.
Yeah, it was different in the sense of the summer was kind of weird, because whilst I knew I was going back to school, there was still the chance of me getting a job and just like reversing and being like, you know what, never mind industry. And I wasn't taking classes anymore. It's kind of that weird moment of you graduated, but you're still kind of getting used to the idea of not being a student, but also in the back of my mind, I knew I was going back to school, so I was still a student. But the speed of life drastically changed. The involvement, campus culture, it's not the same when you're in grad school. It's mostly all just like school, research, and jobs. And then luckily, I still kept in contact with my favorite organization ever, the National Society of Black Engineers. So I still had involvement, but it wasn't to the magnitude of what I was doing in undergrad. So it was different, an uncomfortable thing, but also necessary growth that I needed for the next step of my life.
Do you have any words of encouragement for those who want to attend grad school? But I know we're going kind of off track on the whole leadership part, but I feel like that's important as well. But do you have any words
Yeah.
of encouragement for those who want to attend grad school, either in your field or a similar field?
I'd say the biggest thing is don't be afraid to move. I think a lot of people try to stay at the school that they currently do their undergrad at, but I don't think I would have been challenged as much as I needed to be, or grown as much as I have. If I stayed at UF, it would have been more so of a very comfortable transition for me. I would have already known the professors in my cohort. I would have known a lot of people in my cohort, but I really wanted to be able to spread my wings. And then also, if you're applying to any program, get an understanding of like what classes you're gonna get a chance to take, so that you know the program actually matches with your intention. And if it doesn't match, find a way to make it work with what you're trying to do post graduation.
Yeah, heavy on, make sure you're moving around. Don't be afraid to move because
Hmm.
that'll definitely help with your growth, especially if you want to, what I'm saying, go back and revisit an area you were at before. And let's say you go back home, you want to revisit
Yeah,
Orlando, you got people in the area beyond
hmm,
family, you got people you went to school with and
for
all that.
sure.
But yeah, I feel like that's definitely a leap that I heard from some people, not just with like grad school, but undergrad too. They didn't want to move out of state or they didn't want to move cities because they were scared of the new environment, the change and
Hmm.
whatnot. So I feel like that's something very important to think about.
True, true.
Yeah. So going back to your time at UF, because I met you when you were still your last year of undergrad
Yeah.
at the regional conference back in 2022, I
Yep.
believe. So did you have any other involvement outside of NESB on UF's campus? Like,
Yeah.
what was your
So
path?
on campus, I was a leader in a few Christian organizations, and then I did research, but I also helped out with an engineering mentorship program for incoming underrepresented freshmen for the College of Engineering. So I spent a summer basically tutoring them, but also giving them tips and tricks for success in college. But then Nesby was really my home. But outside of that, I also was involved in the Jamaican American Student Association, where I had multiple leadership experiences. And lastly, I was a Florida Cicerone. Those are the official student ambassadors for the universities. So I helped out with giving tours on campus, and I also helped out with football recruitment.
Wait, you helped with football recruitment?
I
I
did.
didn't know that. Wait, what? Wait, so all right, before we get into the next part, can we decompress that for a second?
Sure.
So
Mhm.
do you even watch sport? No, listen.
I watch
but
college football.
how'd you get into? You want to think about it? Because we were talking about the playoffs back in like November, December, and you were talking about like the whole UF lineup, how they were all underclassmen or like sophomores and whatnot, majority of them.
Mhm.
And I was like, how'd she know that? But then again, I was like, you go to the school, you went to the school, but like, how'd you end up
Mhm.
doing that? Helping out recruitment?
So it's like a separate group inside of the Florida Cicerones. So there's a Florida Cicerones, and our main role is to be a tour guide for the university. But then there's smaller groups in the organization that you have the president host. So they help out with hosting like the president's guests. And then you have swap squad, that's what we call it, that help out with football recruitment. So I really love football, college football, especially when you go to a SEC school and you have people like Tim Tebow as people who are on your field. And I love the spirit and the environment of the college football arena. And I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna try to do this. And it was a really good time to get to speak with the potential athletes at the universities, but also speak with the parents and get them to feel at home, understand the quantity and the quality of the university that the student would have been coming to, but also welcome them into the home and the family of the Gator fam.
Man, UF's gonna be a good team to look out for this upcoming season. All that for
It
sure. I'll
is.
definitely be doing like my little commentating when I watch the games because I'll be watching
Yeah.
FAMU games now because they're FAMU games nationally televised this year, which I'm excited for. 'Cause I'm in Virginia. I can't
That's
just go.
good.
Yeah, I can't just pull up to Bragg Stadium anymore and just watch the game. I can watch them come from my own home. But I'll be watching
Uh-huh.
UF2, UCF,
You should.
FSU for sure,
You
FSU for
should.
sure. After they went undefeated during the regular season, but back to the subject at hand, leadership. So your time in Nesby was vice president your first role, or like
No.
how'd you lead into it? What was the path like?
So I was on the banquet planning committee in my sophomore year, but that was during COVID, so it was like virtual, and it kind of got me into the spirit of really focusing on the membership. So the next year, I was our chapter's social chair, and then if you know Nesby, the vice president is over the membership zone. So I easily just transitioned into the VP role. I really care about the membership. The organization is nothing without its members. And yeah, that's how I ended up there.
So you were more focused on the membership engagement side of things. That's what made you want to be
Mhm.
VP, kind of like take that next step.
That, and I also felt like president was a little bit too big.
Eh.
a lot, lot of pressure. You're the face of the organization, and I really felt like the president that I was working with in my year as VP was the perfect match and the perfect person for that position. So I'm grateful that I was able to lead with her.
Got you. So UF was one of the chapters who won chapter of the year. I can remember, I think
Yes,
it was medium size, right? Medium
medium
size
size.
chapter. And y'all won back to back years, I believe. So this
We
year
did. We did.
and the year prior. So your time as VP, what was the year like building up, and how did you and your chapter feel once you won chapter of the year within Region 3? Well, medium
Okay.
sized chapter of the year in Region 3.
Well, you were there. I don't know if you recognize, but when I
I
heard
did.
my school's name, I jumped up and I started to tear up. I cried. And but my president and I, we hugged each other and we're having a little bit of a moment. But it meant a lot to us because that year was our rebuilding year. So for the fact that in our rebuilding year, the chapter was able to get such a recognition that blew my mind. I started out the year with the concept of family. That was my campaign like acronym because that's what NISB is and was to me. In my freshman year, it was the very first space on campus that I felt at home. I felt seen, I felt accepted, and it was just because of the way how the exec board members literally just walked up to me when I sat in the back, quiet, not talking to anyone. I was just like, hey, like, what's your name? If you're sitting alone, you can come sit by me. I know this person that's also a biomedical engineering major. Let me introduce you to this person. And having those people show me what it meant to bring people home, but also make them feel at home was something that was important to me, and I made sure that my team, the exec board, and myself were very intentional about creating that space for membership. But it also was a time of recognizing the value in having relationships outside of spaces and with people who do not look like us, but also people who might not identify the same way as us, whether it was by major or other organizations on campus. And it was really important to nurture those relationships to make sure that we're getting the support that we needed outside, but also maintaining that support for membership and creating the environment that they needed inside the organization.
Do you feel like Nesby or just leadership in general helped you build a stronger friendship outside of, executive board or organization with the people you came across, like within your chapter?
It definitely did. One thing that Nesby helped me was to continue improving on my ability to build relationships with people. I was a resident assistant, so I would have learned over time how to be a relationship builder, but they say the vice president of the Nesby chapter is normally considered the mom. In your case, when you were VP, the father of the chapter. And I really just like enjoyed like getting to know people. So it really helps me to build a really great relationship with people inside my chapter, but even people outside of my chapter from other universities and across the region as well.
Like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I noticed that because when I got moved to VP, probably like 2, 3 weeks prior to FRC that year, at first off, I
It
didn't know
was
what
2, 3.
it was like 2, 3 weeks in October.
Ah.
It was in October. Yeah,
Mm.
so when I got moved up to that role and I saw like, because I remember the meeting we had at FRC when we were meeting with other presidents, vice presidents. And after
Mhm.
that, I stayed in contact with most of them outside of it. And I don't know what it was about like either Nesby or just me and connecting with people. We always click like that as soon as I see
Yeah.
them again at national conference. Like you, for example, I saw you like, hey, what's up? And then like Malachi from University of
In
Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, him every time I saw him, it was always like, yo, what up? Even on like the president called last summer, we just looked at each other. We had no communication. We just started laughing. And we're just like, yo, how you been? Blah, blah, blah. But I do think building that personal relationship with not just people within your e-board, but also your chapter is also important to
Mhm.
nurturing, especially if you're head of membership and you want to build that engagement kind of thing. But
Mhm.
let's see. So now you're on the regional level.
Yeah.
Was that always in your plan? Because it
Um,
didn't catch me off guard. I saw you still staying involved in Nesby. I just wasn't sure how. I thought you'd still be involved at the chapter level, but you kind of jumped to the regional level. Like, what was that transition like? And did you see yourself being there?
um, I did at the end of my VP term. I think over time, I just grew to see how much bigger NISB was outside of the collegiate level, thanks to FRC. And I really appreciated just, again, the home that I felt and found in Nisby. And I wanted to continue paying it forward to an organization that I would not have been who I am today without that organization. So it wasn't always in the plan, but it just developed over time and through the love that I built. Also, the president of my chapter when I was VP, she was the vice president for the region the year before. So I also had kind of that inspiration from her in terms of her perspective and her experience with the regional board going forward.
Man, so what's your current position on Region 3 board?
I am currently the Region 3 Fall Regional Conference chairperson.
Man, so what's that's been like the past few months? I know summer is usually, well, it is a vital time for planning because that's the best time you can get in before schoolwork starts piling back up. So what's the planning process been like? 'Cause I know we're about 2 months out, 3 months out from
Three
FRC,
months.
or
Yeah.
you're 2 months out. 'Cause I'm not in Region 3 anymore, unfortunately. But
Okay.
no, I didn't mean it as a shot. I was just like, I'm saying like you're a few months out, but like, how are you feeling? Like, what's your strategy towards these next few months or so to, make this like an event of the year kind of thing for the semester?
I'm excited. I will say that I am excited. The process has been smooth so far. But we've been hitting the ground very hard so far with all the plans and the ideas that I have that I want to bring to our membership, whilst also creating a experience that's necessary to Region 3. Just because I want to see Region 3 for what Region 3 needs. So we're working on creating an experience that's unique and specific for our region.
Got you. And then what's it been like working with this team? Because this is your first time, like, well, obviously, it's like your first time leading like a team of people, but at the regional level, you're leading a team of people from different schools. So what's it like building that chemistry between them?
Well, I think one thing that helps is that I was on planning committees for conferences for the entirety of last year. I was on
Mm.
the FRC committee last year and then also the NSB 50 committee last year. So I kind of already got the chance to see the dynamic. And then luckily this year, 4 people on my planning committee are people who I've known previously who have done conference planning for NSB before. So it's been very easy to kind of move into working together and figuring out the team dynamic because I have a relationship with 4 people. And then the other two, we're growing a steady relationship. One is from the university that I attend now. So it's been, again, smooth just because I've have common spaces with people who I've worked with before, but also I know them personally as well.
When you graduate, are you still going to stay involved with like the professionals chapter, either at the chapter level, regional level, national level? Do you see yourself continuing like leadership positions?
Lesbians never gonna see me leave. So leadership TBD. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess I answered my own question because you were like, yeah, I didn't see myself on Region 3, like being committed to that until like towards the end of your VP term. So I see, because I was the same way. I was like, I'm going to take a little bit off, but
Mhm.
I already
You got
told you
off.
I applied to I applied to a position on a DC Professionals board, so that's TBD for right now. But we're gonna see if I get that. But I also do plan to stay involved in NESB. The big goal is becoming a lifetime member. You feel me?
Okay.
I'm gonna stay involved. It just like you, Nesby has helped me get to the point where I'm at now, both
Mhm.
professionally and like personally as well. Building my social life and that was my network. But see, you answered that. If you feel comfortable sharing during your time as VP or even as a participant in the conference planning committee, have you seen any setbacks to the path you're trying to get to, or like the goal you're trying to get to? And like, what if you have, like, what steps did you take to step back and reevaluate your pathway being a leader?
I'd say the biggest step back that I've ever had as a leader is understanding how to improve on my time management, especially in undergrad, even now, still occupied, but um there are moments where you spread yourself too thin and you have to recognize at one point something has to give, and knowing what's most important to you and recognizing the need to let go of things that aren't adding to where you're trying to get to, but also letting go of things that you really don't need to have on your plate right now. But in that same space, setting up the people that you're leaving behind for success because you're leaving. So I really had to have multiple moments of being like, okay, I probably need to pull back from this thing that I added to my list of things to do just because I don't have the capacity. And it's important to be honest with yourself first, because if you're not honest with yourself first, then it's going to be a disservice to everyone else that you're supporting.
Nice. Yeah. How important, kind of transition, how important is it to pass on the torch to the person that's coming behind you, like being vice president or just in general? How important do you feel that is? Because clearly it was good because y'all won chapter of the year again in the
Mhm.
region. But like, how important was that to you, or if it was important to you to make sure the VP coming behind you, knows their stuff and they can steadily improve on what you did?
I think it's thinking about the reputation that was already built, and then now the expectation that's made of you as a chapter. You win chapter of the year 1 year, people are going to be looking at you as a blueprint, so to speak. Um, so just making sure that you recognize where did you as the leader fall short in that previous year. How am I going to educate the person coming after me what to look out for and how to avoid getting into those issues? Being VP did not come without its slip ups. It didn't come without things that set us behind, but it taught me how to pivot. But why pivot when you can prepare for avoiding the need to pivot? So it was important for me to just have a conversation with the next VP and be like, okay, this is the reality of the year. This is what you need to be on top of. This is what happened. This is how you can avoid it going forward. So yeah,
Yeah, I'm really excited for y'all this year. Of course, I'm excited
I
for my
am.
chapter as well.
I
You know,
am.
um, I definitely know like we have a good. Well, I said we, but like home chapter, FAMU FSU definitely has a.
You
It's in
can
good
say we.
hands.
You can say we.
We, as in like FAMU FSU, they're in good hands, and I'm not even trying to like gas it up or anything, but definitely in good hands because transitioning from VP to president, I feel like you got the tools. So yeah,
Mhm,
Julius definitely has the tools, but I'm definitely excited for y'all because Sean is president this year.
mhm.
Man, I for,
Yeah.
I can't remember how vividly it was when I met him. I just remember him and I had like a good time just talking and laughing at FRC 22, and now all of a sudden he's president now, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, it's crazy. I remember at conference this year, he's like, if y'all need to cut at conference, hit me up. I said, bro, what? Can we
He's an
cut people's hair?
entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, dude, just out here cutting hair. I feel like he's gonna do good as president this year, and I'm following
Mhm,
LinkedIn too. So I just ended his internship this year. But yeah, transitioning into kind of the well-being side of things. You talked about
mhm,
time management. That last question I should have wrote down for the passing the torch on, but it's good that we're kind of pivoting now, and I'm kind of repeating what you just said. But well-being and like self-care within leadership is not really talked about too much beyond
mhm.
the time management side of things. Like time management's important, but it's kind of more important on how you're going to manage the stuff once you put it off for a little bit or once you give yourself certain times of the day. So like what techniques do you use to manage or did you use during your time as VP or even right now did you use to manage and reduce stress in your life?
I have cut off times for communication.
Okay.
So when I was VP, the first thing I said to my e-board is you're a human first, student after, student leader afterwards. And I can't enforce a rule or expectation if I can't apply it to my life. So I'd be like, if you need help with anything, do not message me after 8 p.m. because that's either when I'm sleeping or I'm doing my schoolwork. And then I also had a thing where on Saturdays I don't do anything but rest and stay home or do something that makes me happy. Just because I wanted to kind of disassociate from the responsibilities of school involvement, leadership, and just have some me time.
Got you. Now transition into your me time. What activities do you usually engage to keep your I wouldn't even say keep your mind sharp, but make sure you're taking that time to rest. Like, what activities do you do by yourself? Like, do you go on walks, go to the gym,
Mhm.
cook? What do you do?
So I like to bake, love to bake. So that's one thing that I did. I picked up in
What you be
COVID,
making?
everything and anything. I literally made a cheesecake yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, from scratch, everything from scratch. And then I like to dance. I like to sing. And I also like to go to the gym. I just haven't had that much time to do that this summer, but I'm gonna get back to my gym grind this semester. But pretty much just like keeping my body active, but also feeding my spirit with good food and good music.
Man, speaking of good food and sleep, how
Mhm,
important is that in making sure you don't, because that'll add on to the burnout because the physical exhaustion and the
mhm,
mental exhaustion kind of go hand in hand. Nothing is more important than nothing's more neither of them are more important prioritizing over the other because one falls
mhm.
short, you're going to feel on the other side. You
Yeah,
feel physically tired, you're going to feel mentally tired. You don't feel like doing your work. You feel mentally tired, you're going to want to go to sleep and whatnot.
yeah.
Like, how important is that balance in life? Making sure you're eating right, make sure your bodies keep going, and like a restful night of sleep.
Well, restful night of sleep. I don't know if you can get that
You
a
know what I'm
day.
talking about. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, making sure you have that time where you can rest. Not even like a full night of sleep, but just like if you need a nap time during the day,
Yeah,
or just need a
for
rest from
sure.
your work.
So for context, this summer I worked a 40-hour week, and the minute I got home, it was just like eating, taking a nap, and going about my night, and then waking up and doing whatever I needed to do. But I needed to replenish my body, but I also love to eat as healthy as I can. I don't like to eat too much junk, even though junk is good. So I try to have balanced meals. I always buy my vegetables. I love me a good salad, protein and vegetables instead of protein and rice, even though I'm Caribbean and rice is like a staple in my culture. Um, and when it comes on to resting, it's just me making time. If I'm tired, I'm tired, so I'm gonna sleep. If I'm tired and I don't want to do the work that I need to get done, I'll push it back. But not push it back too much for it to be late or past the deadline of it.
And now, what keeps you going throughout the day? Because even those days when you're feeling tired and you feel like you need to, take a break, or like push
Mhm.
something off. Like, what's your motivation? What's that fire that keeps you going throughout the day?
I like to know that I'm complete with everything that I'm doing. So I don't like to have a bunch of tasks that I have done, need to be done, and then I don't do it just because I'm tired, because now it's gonna rest on my mind consistently. Like I need to get up and do this. So it's just getting that to-do list crossed off and having everything done for me to get through those days and then know that okay, once I have everything done, now I can rest.
Got you. And I guess going back to doing things that you love during your free time, like your self care days, like what was that kind of adventure like figuring out what's good for you during your free time? Because you have those lists you'll get saying like do these three things and you'll feel better. But like sometimes people don't like going off the kind of like the formal list. But like, what was it like finding your self love routines or self care routines?
It came with me being stretched thin. Specifically in my junior year, I was on 3 boards. I was doing research, had a
Sheesh, three
part-time
boards.
job, And I was also doing another thing that took a lot of my time, was also joining the Florida Cicerones. And it was just go, go, go. I didn't have any time to break. If I wasn't in a meeting, I was somewhere else. If I wasn't in a meeting, I was doing schoolwork. I was up until 4 a.m. in the mornings trying to like get schoolwork done. Specifically in that year, there's not 1 week without an exam. And I had to realize something had to give. So that year, I unfortunately had to drop research because I just knew I couldn't give my time to it, but I also needed rest. So that's how I came up with the concept of just like Saturdays, I disconnect from the world because I was consistently interacting with people and I just didn't have time to appreciate me and just enjoy my time by myself. So I like to just take my breaks, but it really came with recognizing I was burning out and I wasn't performing at my best in other areas in my life. So if I wanted to perform at my best, something had to go, but I also needed to take time to rest.
Got you. What personal values or beliefs guide your actions and decisions? Can be
Most
anything, school, all the above.
Mostly it's to never do anything outside of your passions. And when I say that, I mean recognizing what you're passionate about, what you care about, and then moving forward with that, and to not leave the person who you know yourself to be. So I wouldn't want to be like, oh, I'm going to go to law school, but I don't like to be someone who debates a lot. Oh, I want to go like work in agriculture, but
I
it's
don't
not
want to touch
something
all the I don't want to
you're
touch all the
really
plants and fruits and stuff, mess with the bugs and
right. So I knew for me, my life goal is to improve the quality of life of people around me. And that's something that I'm passionate about. And it's not just in my career, because it's kind of obvious when you work in healthcare, you want to improve the quality of life, but it's also outside of the field of the career, making sure that the people that you're around feel safe, taking care of each other, supporting people around you, but looking for ways how you can improve someone else's life from the bank that you have been blessed with.
got you. So we're slowly wrapping up. We got about two more questions listed on here. Um, Actually, one question because you kind of answered already. Do you have a mentor or some sort of support system to fall back on in case you're in need of advice on a certain situation?
Yeah, so I do have a couple mentors. One specifically, I got her through my role as a resident assistant, and she's just really helped me to come back to the center of recognizing that I needed to take care of myself when I was busy. She saw me go through that junior year of just all those e-boards, the joining the Florida Cicerones, and then doing everything else that I was doing. And she was just like, okay, you're not eating and you're not sleeping, but also why is this important to you? But also even in moments from there on out, when I needed someone to kind of make sure that I was thinking through the right way about situations or I was responding well, I always spoke to her and spoke about like what was going on, give her the full description, and I appreciate so much how much she really created a safe space for me to fully express how I was feeling in that moment, but also corrected me where correction was needed and pointing me in the right direction afterwards.
What about family and friends? Do they play a role in, guiding you through certain situations?
For sure, family and friends like play a very big role, especially my parents and my sister. Something that my dad says that I will always tell people, he says to me every single time, always have a plan in life. And then there's that famous quote that people say, fail to prepare or fail to plan. You know what I'm talking about. But that quote is like gone. But um my dad really drilled that into my head. So I'm the type of person that I like to prepare for life whilst living in the moment. Um, just planning for life, talking to people, having people encourage me to be confident in who I am and who I'm growing into. But also people who remind me that, I got it. Who I am right now is enough and I don't need to pressure myself too much.
Got you. Yeah, having not even just a support system in general, but people who want to see you grow. Because you know you can always fall back and just like vent a little, but it's always
Mhm.
to have those people who can motivate you on growing, whether that's friends or family members. Even mentors is very important as well. Are you a mentor to anyone?
I have a lot of mentees. I call them my kids. A lot of them, they have truly grown since I've met them since their freshman year. I'm the type of person where I see you, I see your potential, I'm going to call it out. And that's not me pressuring you into being someone that I think you can be, but this is just me saying, like, hey, I see this in you. I don't know if it's something that you want to explore, but I'm adding to that like confidence that you might be scared to explore something if you are. I truly love them. They're my everything, and the people that remind me that I'm growing as they are growing as well, but they make me see life in a new perspective where maybe I didn't learn something that they learned in their sophomore year. And I was just like, wow, okay, you grew a little bit quicker than I did, but I'm so happy that you're moving forward in life.
Yeah, that's important for the people behind you to not just be just as good as you, but like you said,
Better.
point out the stuff you might have missed, therefore making them a
Mhm.
better person, leading to the world being a better place every day.
Yes.
So, but yeah, that's the last question I have listed. Do you have any last minute comments or any questions from me?
So you left season
Ah,
3.
I was hoping it would be a no. Not messing. Go
You
ahead.
left region 3, and now I guess you're a part of region
Too
2.
hype.
Um, how does the transition feel? As you asked me earlier, what did the transition feel like from undergrad to grad school? But how does the transition feel now as like student to an employee,
It's
the entrepreneur?
definitely so I'll definitely say one thing that I thought I'd be more used to, which would be waking up every day, going to work, doing that same thing every single day.
Mhm,
But it's different in corporate because you have the same time Monday through Friday when you're in work and when you leave work. You already know this. School, sometimes you can have 8 a.m.s is your first class of the day. Sometimes you'll have a 12:30 class that'll start your day. Is it it's hard for me to like not want to take naps in between, my shift, not my shifts, but like throughout the day, but I slowly had to adjust to it and it was a little hard at first because I mean, I'm already an early bird, but just having a different schedule, same schedule every single day versus like different one every single day,
mm,
is definitely different. Especially because on Fridays, this past year I only had one class, which was senior design, 9:30 to
mhm,
10:45, and like had a meeting till 12, and my day's done. I do work,
mhm.
homework or whatever, but from a core perspective, it's been good. Liking my job, definitely liking my job. I
Good.
start on call at the time of recording this video. Start being on call on Monday, this upcoming Monday. So it's gonna be
Exciting.
good. I'm gonna have a extra work phone, a pager and whatnot,
Mhm.
when I'm on nighttime call. But yeah, it's been good. I like the team I work for or work with. Um, and yeah, I'm just liking it. But the DC professional chapter wise, being a region two, they're very welcoming. I'll say that. It was like all every time I go to something Nesby related, they're always welcoming. No matter how big or small the crowd is. Like the president, he greeted me at the door when I went to the end of the year banquet. He's like, "Hey man, thanks for coming out." I was like, I feel like I met him before. I definitely have met him before at a conference, but I couldn't put a face to or name to a face or face to name, whatever you
Mhm.
want to say. But it was very welcoming. Then I met the vice president, and then all three of us ended up clicking because they went to Temple University, and that's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I'm from right outside of Philly. So we all
Yeah.
clicked. They were like, "Which part of Philly you from?" I said, "Oh, brother, I'm about to get checked. They're gonna find I'm a suburban kid." But yeah, we all clicked. It definitely felt weird hearing the "Can I get a two hype?" That I'm so used to hearing
Our
Powerhouse.
house, yes.
Yeah, from our chairperson or even the secretary Jesse. I feel good though being here. I definitely know I'll be involved throughout the rest of my life within Nesby and just helping other engineers. I'm definitely going to expand my reach on organization involvement out here. Now that I'm a professional, I have more time. I can actually control my time.
Mm.
So yeah, well, to answer your question, it's been good. I do miss Region 3 and my home chapter, of course, but I'll be tuning in through Instagram to watch all the greatness you guys do this year and hopefully
Yes,
see all that NISB 51 Chicago, Illinois.
yes, yes.
But yeah, I've been feeling good though. Yeah. Got a car, got somewhere to
Nice.
live, and I have a job. That's what I always tell people when they ask how I'm doing. I said, I'm great out here. I'm living life.
Yeah.
But
That's good.
yeah, you have anything else? Any last minute comments?
Uh, watch more of these podcasts. What's the next one? And the other one.
Got you. Yeah, it'll definitely be a journey. This is my first time trying this out. Like even getting this mic, I ordered like a week ago. My co-host Omar, he picked out the mic and he was like, "Yo, get this one." And I was like, "All right, now I gotta get the rest of the equipment. I got a desk set up in my room. Got like I'm still trying to figure out this lighting situation. Right now it's good, but like, know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
need more light in the room." But yeah, thank you for being a guest today. I really
Thank you for
hope the
having me.
viewer. Wait, one fault. Say it again.
Thank you for having me.
My bad. I usually overtalk people. Sometimes it's a bad habit, but
Oh,
but it's all love. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being on this show today. If you like this video today, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend who may find this beneficial, or even tune in later in the day or later in the year. You might pick up something you might have missed the first time. But until
mm.
then, see you on the next episode. Go and say goodbye to the people.
Bye.